Okay guys, everyone's in. We're ready to start. Well, sorry for the delay, we really didn't expect that. And yeah, I mean, some of you must be really tired of hearing me say that, but this is crazy. And yeah, look at you. I mean, we doubled our size from last time. This is really incredible. Welcome to the Digital Analytics Meetup number 11. Thank you very much for having you all here. This is awesome. And thank you very much. Well, actually, this is the first time we had 300 signups, and I didn't expect that all of you would actually all come, so I maybe calculated with 100 people, but I promise next time we will either get the queue faster or do a live stream or something. Yeah, quick word about me before showing the agenda. My name is Marco, and I organize these events for a year now, a bit more than a year actually. And yeah, I've been in digital analytics for quite a while now, did some freelancing for a year, and now I'm only working in my own consultancy for digital analytics and business intelligence called Pandata. So if you'd like to catch up on some of the subjects, just let me know anytime. Just a short note on the email we were asking you to write on that list. The list is a requirement from SAP. They need it for security reasons. But we asked you for the email because we want to integrate you more in our community. And don't worry, we won't send any spam. It's never. So about the agenda today, Jorge Ramos will speak first about how to become an analytics legend, which I find really awesome. Then I will creep you out with my Google Analytics, and then Varun will speak about data boosting your social media, and then obviously we will have networking drinks as always. Then big thanks to SAP for hosting us tonight, and letting in that many people, which is really cool, and for sponsoring pretzels and drinks that you can find over there. Just grab them as many as you like. And same for the coffee. Please just leave the stuff that is next to the cashier, like the chewing gums, and who wants them anyway. Yeah, big thanks also to our speakers, Varun and Jorge, and also to Danny from Regiepapst, who will be recording the entire event. You see that camera over there. Yeah, give a big applause for all of them. But Danny will himself tell you a bit about what he's doing there with the video.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you, Marco. My name is Danny. We are recording this event today for my company called Regiepapst. We're doing movies for 15 years now for corporations like Airbus, BMW, Deutsche Bank. And but we're also doing small videos for small startups with small budgets, sharing our experience and knowledge. And in case you all sign up on Eventbrite and Meetup, you will receive a link to the YouTube video in a week to watch the presentations again and share it with your friends and colleagues. So enjoy.
Well, thank you very much. So coming up next, Jorge Ramos.
There you go. All right, so thanks Marco for the introduction. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm amazed. kind of scared as well. I didn't expect so many people when I agreed to do this. Of course, big thanks to the SAP people for having us today, again. And yeah, I mean, you're so many people, I guess, I don't know, maybe you have like very high expectations on what I'm talking about. I hope not, because it's not so cool. Probably the like, one to blame is Marco, because of the title. Actually, my original title was something like this. Boring. But they said, no, let's find something like catchy and that we can attract more people. So we came to, whoa, how to become an analytics legend. I'm not an analytics legend, so it's kind of hard to speak about this. But still, I will tell you, actually I will tell more about this, soft skills. Also, I mean, credit first, this is not a topic that I invented, so this is not from my own, let's say, brain coming all of it. This actually started like a Measure Camp this year, Measure Camp London, I'm not sure if you heard about it. We had a session actually talking about soft skills, and what I tried to do here is put together more or less like the results of that conversation. And actually, I would really like it. I mean, it's hard because we're like a lot of people, but I would really like to have some conversation here as well. So this means don't wait till the end for questions. Stop me. I'll be happy to like chat, like discuss, challenge me, please. So if you don't agree with something, say, hey, that's bullshit, and you stop me. And I'll be happy, really happy to discuss about it. So yeah, how to become an analytics legend. Cool. Okay, let's start with a couple questions for you. How long have you been an analyst? In case you are analysts here, I don't know. I guess you are mostly. Who's been an analyst here for less than a year? Please raise your hands. Less than a year. Oh, okay. Between 1 and 2 years. Cool. 2, 3 years. All right, between 3 and 5, experienced guys, cool. More than 5, very good. Like around 10 years, more than 10 years. The internet didn't exist, haha. Well, yeah, it did actually, but yeah, cool. So probably in your career, you've heard many times, or you asked yourselves, you wondered, what makes a good analyst? Probably you thought about it. And then, I mean, it's a hard question to answer because there's not that there's like a career in university like web analytics degree degree. That's my Spanish translation. Because I'm from Spain, I didn't say it before, but I'm from Spain. And yeah, what makes a good analyst? You see all those job descriptions, you see like, and then it's like, okay, and then you see, okay, for being a good analyst, they request like Google Analytics, of course, and Google Tag Manager, like, yes, sure, or even Adobe Analytics, or even WebTrack. We have the WebTrack guys here. Yeah, absolutely. What else? JavaScript, yeah, of course. If you do JavaScript, you can be a great analyst, but also SQL, absolutely. Or like ETL processes, or HTML and CSS, and Python, of course. R, yeah? Excel, of course, like the main tool of every analyst. Statistical modeling, sure, I've seen this in job descriptions when you're trying to, yeah, look for a job or so. I don't see here, it's so yellow. Automation, attribution modeling, UX, user experience, data science, segmentation, reporting, online marketing, SEO, and so on, and so on, and so on. Does anybody here know all of this? Absolutely everything? Probably not. So that's the point. I mean, we're always like thinking of, okay, how can I become a better analyst? How can I improve as a professional? And then you start thinking about all these things. And cool, I mean, of course, you can learn all this. But, and this is what I call, in general we call hard skills. Cool, hard skills. I have good news because hard skills can be learned. But hard skills, sorry, too fast, can't be learned. I mean, it's not like you learn them overnight, but I mean, it just takes time and some effort, and then you can develop those skills. But the bad news is that hard skills are not enough. Are not enough if you want to become an analytics legend, actually. Why is that? Why do I say that? In general, as digital analysts, we are there sitting in the middle of everything, you know, like a lot of stakeholders around us, like web developers, like the coders, like the product managers, content managers, whatever. Like lots of things surround us. We are surrounded by all of this. But the bad part of it is that, except for some like very small cases, we don't own anything. So this is nothing that we can actually act on. So if we say, okay, this should be changed, there's nothing we can do. We actually need to convince the people who manage it to do it. So if we don't manage it, if we don't own it, how are we supposed to optimize it? Because in the end, this is our final goal as analysts, right? So we have to improve things. We need to optimize it. So in order to do that, what you actually need within, I mean, of course, there are exceptions. There are cases where the digital analyst sits by the CEO, and whatever the digital analyst says, the CEO says, like, do it, do it, do it, and it happens. But I don't know so many companies like that, to be honest. So in general, if you want to get things done, if you want to really create impact in your company as an analyst, what you need is influence. And how do you influence people? Sorry. I mean, there are people who are easier to influence, but in general, especially when you deal with senior people, it's not so easy. If they don't want to touch the code, it's very hard to convince them. So how do you gain that influence? With soft skills. Now, this is the topic of the chat. Okay. Anybody disagrees? Like soft skills are bullshit, or no? Okay, I'll go on. What I would say is that soft skills in general are more important than hard skills. You say, why is that? I mean, probably you don't know what soft skills are, so maybe you're just like expecting for me to get started with that. But I find them more important than hard skills because soft skills can't be learned overnight. So it's not something that you go to university and develop it. It's not like that. I mean, there are even people that really want to do it, and it's not so easy for them. So yeah, let's talk about the main, so like the basic 5, the fantastic 5, let's call it. Soft skills to become an analytics legend. These are the 5 soft skills that I find most important. But of course, as I said before, please challenge me. Say like, no, that's not so important. I find this more important. I mean, also we'll have some time in the end, and I would really like to have your participation here. So first one, number 1, act like an owner. That doesn't mean like shoot at everyone who like challenges you. No, of course. Act like an owner means don't be an analyst, be a product manager for analytics. What does this mean? So it means that you have to lead meetings, you have to take notes, have to follow up after taking notes. You have to make questions, you have to demand a budget and manage that budget. You have to launch new projects, you have to generate impact. That's what it means, acting like an owner. It's not that I sit on my place waiting for people to come and ask things. It's like, how did conversion rate go last week? This. How did this campaign perform? That. It's not like that. I mean, of course you have to do that, but it's not enough. You have to go the extra mile. So what I mean with this is that you have to become an active agent of change within your organization. It's really important. Anybody disagrees? All right, go on. Number 2, anticipate. This is, well, it's so pixeled. Michael Nostradamus and his prophecies. Anticipating, of course, anticipating doesn't mean foreseeing the future. It's not possible. By anticipating, what I mean is that, again, connecting with what I said before, you don't be reactive. Be strategic and anticipate. If you know there's a big topic in the company that everybody's talking about, be ready. I mean, have your numbers ready. And you know, research about it before. So before the first question comes to you, you should have your stuff known and ready. And this connects with the next. Do your homework. Know your numbers. Okay? That, in the end, what shows is that you are in control, that you know what's going on. And in the end, this builds up to create this influence within the organization we were talking about before. I mean, of course, it's not possible to know all the numbers from the top of your head about absolutely everything that's going on in the website or app or whatever. But if you are not able to say, okay, conversion rate last week was 3.5%, at least say, well, yeah, it was somewhere between 3 and 4. That's good as well. Like, give a range. And if you're not able to give a range, at least say, well, it was better than the week before. At least. So at least show that you know what's going on and that you're in control and that you're the person to trust about this. All right? Number 3, avoid negativity. It's a joke for mathematicians, or well, just for people who know math. So avoiding negativity means don't be a blocker, become a supporter. I mean, many times, I'm pretty sure you've seen, okay, let's try this, and you know, that's not gonna work. No, let's try this. That's not gonna work. Still, if you know it's not gonna work, but people are insisting, don't block them. Let them fail. Let them learn. They will appreciate it in the end. So, yeah, even if you know they are wrong, just let them fail. That's good. And then help them afterwards to do it the right way. And also very important, I mean, we all have been negative, right? And something we have to change. But most importantly, you find negative people. That's harder. So what you should try, we should try, and it's much easier said than done, we should try to convert negative people into our advocates. So that means you identify in a meeting some guy or some girl who's like really like negative, challenging absolutely everything you said, like no, 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 no. Approach that person by the side, like, okay, what do you think is wrong? What do you think is not going to work? And try to talk to this person, try to convince this person. If this hard-ass person is able to actually in the end, you know, follow your recommendations, then you got like the most resistant people on your side. So this is actually very, very important if you manage to do that. And again, that will show the rest of the organization that you are an influencer, that you can actually change things. Number 4, always have your pitch ready, like your elevator pitch. What does this mean? What does it mean? Big projects, and this is true, are the ones that will make you a legend. Of course, it's important if you provide like, yeah, conversion rate every day or bounce rate or la. But actually, if you're involved in the big projects in the organization, and actually you show you're good at that, people will remember you. And they will say, okay, this is the guy we have to work with, or the girl we have to work with. And if you don't have a big project, go for it. Go find one. I mean, there are big projects everywhere. So just try, you know, don't wait for the big project to come to your door. Just go for it. And once you have that big project, always have a deck, so your slides, or your elevator, and your elevator pitch ready. You never know when you're gonna find like you meet like in the elevator these very influencing people in the company. You will be able to pitch in your opportunity, and then this person will become your sponsor. You never know when that's gonna happen. So it's actually super important to have it ready. I mean, I don't mean like having like a like fully produced slide deck, but at least to have the clear idea so you can pitch it in. Disagrees? Cool. And 5, last one, embrace change. And this is something that I think everyone has to do. I mean, even myself, now I'm really happy about changes. I'm really happy. But I mean, not so long ago, every time, I mean, I had to change my desk, I was like, fuck this again. Or, okay, no, we have a new boss, and then they rearrange the whole management. Like, oh no, doesn't matter. I mean, change, there we go. Change is the norm. It's not the exception. So get used to it. It's always going to be like that. And the cool thing about change is that after 2 or 3 weeks, it's not a change anymore. You're used to it. So who cares about changing? And actually, changes are very good opportunities for improving, for learning. I mean, it's not, I mean, imagine that. Myself, if I had to do like the same job every single day for the next 2 years, and I knew it, I would just quit right now. Wouldn't you? I know, it would be so boring. So I think that change is actually good to, okay, go for it, embrace it, do it. And of course, who adapts and who adapts first wins, has like a, let's say, like a competitive advantage over your colleagues. So if you're actually quick and fast to adapt to the new reality, you'll be much better. And also, you will show the rest of the organization that, yeah, this guy, this girl, is really good at this. You agree? Okay, what else? Those were my 5. What do you think? What else can be like an important soft skill? Come on. No one? Passion. Can you elaborate that? Okay, we have mic. Does it sound?
Who was it?
The back.
Passion?
Like outside of the building or?
Wow.
Oh boy, going down to Friedrichshain.
It wasn't me. It was him. Yeah. Hola, Jorge.
Hola, thanks. Thanks for participating.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
What
So
do you say?
passion. You said passion.
Yes,
Why passion?
I believe very profoundly in passion, to being passionate about the project that you are working on. Because only this you will convince people, I mean about senior managers, before you and after you, many, many more people will come. I will present a great project and talk about great things. And they will think, okay, this is boring, this is something that I want to get involved. But if they believe, if they see in your eyes that you are gonna do it no matter what, if they see this passion in you, then they are going to give you the money, and then you will do the project.
That's very true.
I profoundly believe in this.
That's very true. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we don't have like a whiteboard or anything. Okay. Mental notes. Passion. What else? Please participate. Okay. One more here. Mako. Oh, over there. Okay. Then over there. I hate hearing my voice.
Talk simple. So
Sorry?
like explaining complex ideas in a simple way, because basically you fighting with numbers against the bellies of people. So they want to decide, based on their instinct, and then numbers say something else, and you should try.
Okay, so
this could fall in influencing, but it's not necessarily only influencing. It's something.
Okay. So no, it's like communication, right? Like having
communication.
having like the right communication depending on who you're talking to, right? That's a very good one. Actually, I was tempted to have it in my top 5, but I didn't include it in the end. Who else? Here, over here. Marco, please. Oh, this is so blinding.
Be curious.
Be curious.
I think it's about lifelong learning. It's about adapting to new environment, as you said, but in a positive way, and really show that curiosity to others. Don't give in. There's always a new surprise coming along, and show that to others that you really love what you do.
That's true. Ask questions. Be curious. Ask questions. I mean, that's very important as well. Show that you are involved, that you really want to understand what's going on. Thank you. Thank you very much. What else?
Be able to prioritize and identify your own priorities correctly in the medium and long term, as well as identify what other people have on their plate and how you can convince them to share your priorities.
That's true. I mean, being able to prioritize, I think it connects very closely with this thing I mentioned before, having a big project. So like focus on the big projects, like focus, I mean, not only on the big projects, sometimes on the low-hanging fruit. So those things that are like low effort and high impact. That's also a very good thing to prioritize. That also makes you gain a lot of visibility within the company and influence in the end. Like, well, look at this guy, this girl. Like, work on this for 2 hours and we made this huge improvement. That is also about prioritization. Thank you. Who else?
Hi guys and girls, my name is Marco. My main idea is help management and others to develop key performance indicators. My idea behind it, analysts work with numbers.
Yeah.
And in social web, all the results are likely to be valued by the management, by the outcome of the investment they put in there. But social web is not about quantity, it's about quality. So you have to develop good key performance indicators so that you know what to measure.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, this is not, I mean, I think that's key and super important, but probably that's also more connected to the hard skills of an analyst as well, right? So, I mean, you have to be smart and you have to be able to find the right KPIs, kind of soft skills, but at the same time, like finding what do we need to measure, I think is key part of our responsibilities as analysts as well. But it's also a good one. Thank you. Who else? Nobody? Do you all agree? Now you know how to become an analytics legend? Actually, I mean, the hard part of all this is that it's not so easy. I mean, we mentioned a lot of very important things, but how do you do to develop that? That would be the next question, right? You know how to develop it?
I just wanted to
okay,
say
please, go ahead.
So if it's about legend, it's about having an impact in the lives of the others. Because
great.
legends, that's what they do. They show the way. So mainly based on their experience, based on their results, they can show off what is going on with the data. So being a legend is having an impact and transferring this knowledge to the others.
Correct. I mean, and that's actually what the whole thing is about. How to create that impact, how to generate that impact, how to become, I would say, a catalyst for change within the company as well, for improvement. That's very true. Thank you. Okay, more raising hands. I'm blind here. Over there. Marco. No.
I think listening is also a good attribute because through listening you can anticipate what's coming next and what you need to know the next minute and where you, I don't know, can make some improvement.
That's true. I mean, it's not only asking, it's also being able to listen what people want to tell you. That's very true. And finding like what the organization needs and what like individuals need as well. That's very true. Thank you. Something else? Okay. If you're like scared of talking in front of a lot of people, you can also like come after me and challenge everything I said and say that was a lie, all of it. Please go ahead. That's also nice. And yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, Jorge. That was really cool. And I didn't believe that it would be possible to do such an interactive session with that many people, but you managed to do it. One thing I never said is this guy actually trained me. He was my mentor at where I learned everything about digital analytics. So yeah, now we've been on a...
Now that you mention it, that's also a very good soft skill, finding a mentor. It is. Really is. That like one person can tell you in 15 minutes what you can figure out in 2 hours or in 2 years. So yeah, that's a good one. Thank you for saying that.
And now that we've been on a pretty much macro level, we will go on a rather micro level, I would say. I want to show you a hobby project, side project, more or less, that I was doing when I get the computer to work. Yes. So what I will be showing you, as said, is like a small side project I've been doing in my spare time. I showed that already at the Google Analytics Hack Challenge, and yeah, maybe if you were there, you will see that again. So sorry for that. But I think it would be really cool to share that with some more people as well. And yeah, as said, it's just a hobby project. It's not live anywhere yet. It's only populated with demo data, and some of it might be in a legal gray zone too. So if anyone wants to try that, maybe wouldn't do it on the live system yet. Yeah, I will do the most stupid thing you can ever do in front of 200 or even more people. I didn't bring a single slide. I only have live Google Analytics backing me up. So please, if anything goes wrong, be gentle. And yeah, so let's start. What am I doing? I thought Google Analytics is really nice, but it doesn't have a lot of user-centric metrics and stuff. So you get a lot of info about sessions and everything, but you don't really know who your actual users are. And I built basically a set of custom dimensions. If you work a bit with analytics, you might know what that is. It's a way to send data to Google Analytics. And these are very user-centric and allow us to really get down on every particular user and get a lot of information about him or her. And yeah, I want to show you that with my little demo shop that I built here. Now the bad thing is that I will have to look always to that side. I'm sorry for that, but we will figure that out somehow. Maybe if I manage to copy the screen to. As said, it's completely live, so this kind of stuff will happen. Let's see if I manage to do that quickly. I will. Yes. Nice. That is so much easier. Okay. So this is my. Consider we as a user, I mean, I want to go to a demo shop, I want to buy something, and I Google demo shop. And what I find is, I do find my Pandata demo shop here, I get a Google ad, I get an organic search result. So what I do is obviously, I search this, I click the ad because I want them to pay. Then I get this beautiful website, which is my shop. I might click around there a bit, look at the products. Oh, nice hardware. I definitely need a new graphic card because I want to play this cool computer game. And I will buy, maybe, wow, it's 500 bucks. Wow, no, maybe that's too expensive for me. No, I'm not buying this. Then next day, I'm on Crunchbase researching really cool companies. And yeah, I see there is a remarketing banner. And yeah, obviously I will click that because I still remember that I wanted to buy that graphic card maybe. And yeah, I get back to that shop and still I click around, I maybe go into the funnel, but still I don't buy it. And imagine a few weeks later, I do the same, I think, fuck, now I have the money, I will buy that card, I do it. And I go to the shop, this time I use the organic search result because I Googled again, go in the shop, and search for the thing I wanted to buy. It was definitely that graphic card. Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that now. And add this to the cart and go to checkout. And that's how the story continues. So what kind of data did I collect now by Chu? Because this is very common. I mean, this is usually the way a buying process starts. It's not that I have one click, one session, and I buy. It's usually much more like this, where the user might visit your page, then leave again, and come back through another channel. And obviously, Google Analytics has a way to reflect that somehow, but it's usually, at least in the standard setting, last click, or last non-direct click to be precise, which means the last channel, as long as it's not direct, will be attributed with the sale. I try to extend Google Analytics in a way that is a bit more user-centric. And what we see here are the client IDs from Google Analytics. This is something everyone can do like in a minute with their Google Analytics property, is pushing these client IDs, because every client, every browser gets one of these, and they essentially consist of a random number, which is the first part that you see, and a timestamp, which is the second part you see. The timestamp is when you got the cookie. So in the end, just treat it like a random number, and I know it looks a bit odd, but it doesn't matter. So what I'm sending is, I'm sending this number with every hit and every user that is on my page, which obviously allows me to go on a user level. So each of these are single users. If I go a bit deeper in that custom report I built now, and I click that user, I get that. And can you see that actually? Because it's pretty low here. Maybe if I move it up, better, huh? What we see here is the time when the session started actually. So I can see here this session started 7th April, 11:28. Then the next session started 11:57, and so on. So this is the exact time and date of when this user journey session started. Each of these is one session, and I'm appending these values. So in the end, I get a really nice chain of when the user was on my site. One thing I should mention, maybe I didn't say that in the beginning actually, is you might question what you need that for, because it's not very good for a quantitative analysis. I admit that. But what I think GA is lacking a lot is a feature to get to get a feel for a user, to maybe get some derived persona from that, and I mean, we're all people. We like to see what other people do. It's more like for a qualitative analysis than for a quantitative. So if I go into that session, I see all of the channels. I see the click journey this user was doing. So I see that one was on paid social first, then he came through an organic search, and then again the next time he came through an organic search. If I go one level deeper, I do see which campaigns this user saw. Obviously, organic search, he didn't see any campaign, but for the first one, it was done for the hack challenge. That's why I see that here. I added something else which I find quite interesting to look at, and this is also a custom dimension that you can add. And it is last seen, I call it. If I add this, this is the last time I actually saw the user on my page. What I could calculate from that is how long the session was for each individual session, and I can see when this user actually last time visited my page, this particular one. And I do have something I call last actions, where I defined a set of actions that I find valuable. For example, if the last relevant action a user did on my page was a PDP, I'm writing that in there. If he created an account, it's that. So you see, that was always the last relevant step someone did during his interaction. Obviously, he can do a lot of other stuff, visit irrelevant pages in between. This will be the one that will be saved. So I know that on his second action, this user created an account, but then bounced. So let's go into the bit more quantitative stuff that we can do with that. And what it allows me as well is to tell which first channel was performing best. And yeah, as said, Google Analytics usually does last channel attribution or last non-direct. And this allows me to also look at how did the first channels in one chain perform. I know some of you who know Google Analytics really well might say now, okay, but we have that. There is a tool called the Attribution Model Explorer. That's true. But the big difference is the Attribution Model Explorer is completely calculated. You have this look back window that you have to set. This is actual captured data. This is real. And also the big upside of that and of every single of these metrics that dimensions that we have there is that I can use them anywhere else in Google Analytics. I can, for example, go here. This is the normal reporting interface, acquisition, all traffic channels. If you use Google Analytics a lot, you must know that one view. Or that, what I can do here is I just add my first channel, my first contact channel dimension to the normal channel grouping, and I can compare the channels against each other. I can see how did the channels perform against each other, first channel versus last channel. Also, what I get from there is which user journey did produce which transaction. I mean, this is not a lot of data here, so it might not be too interesting, but I can imagine when you have a really long list that this is getting a bit much more interesting. Also, I mean, we have that with the click chains in Google Analytics. There is another tool, but as said, I don't know. These are all calculated values. This is what is actually captured. And also, I can put that here. That means this is the normal transaction report from Enhanced E-commerce. I can write that in there as well and see for every particular transaction ID, what was the click journey that led to this transaction. So, still following? Let's get back to the beautiful shop, and let's actually buy that product now. Maybe one of you guys would be willing to give me an email address. It needs to be an email address that has some kind of a track record. So one, you use on your, I don't know, Facebook. I can unplug the computer for the moment you type it in if you're scared that you will get creepy emails. Only from me then, obviously. Would anyone do that? Don't be scared. Varun, what about you? I will unplug the computer, so you see I will just enter random stuff here. But is it the one that you signed on stuff, and has it a track record? Otherwise your private one would be better. Yeah, just do it. We'll see what happens. I have a backup. Nice. Yeah, you need to type the credit card info as well. No. Ah, sorry. Thank you very much. I need to click next first, otherwise you will all see his email. We don't want that. So we did it. Nice, you see I'm on the next funnel step now. What should we see in analytics now? We will have a look at this later. I will show you what we're supposed to see now, and we'll see later if Varun's email was of use or not for this. So what I'm doing there in the background is I do a lookup on the full contact API. Maybe you know it, maybe not. I will speak a bit more about it later on. What I get, or at least what I'm pushing to analytics now, is I get the company of the person. I mean, you can see I mostly asked web analytics guys, and I get the job. So if I click freelancer here, I get the job description. One of them is me. And also, what is missing for a real picture of the user? Obviously a picture. So what I get here is the social media profiles of the user if they have one linked to that email address. And now I go in on some, maybe on yours, Jorge. I think it's that one. So, and we have that nice bit.ly link here. Copying that, open a browser. It's an API called Full Contact, and I'm doing a lookup on the email address. In the background of I'm doing this mostly with Tag Manager. I will elaborate more about that, and yeah, that's the guy sitting here. So, you saw him just a minute ago. So, now let's see if we could do anything with Varun's email. I cannot promise. It works like for maybe 40% of the email addresses. I tried several of them. So let's see what we got there. If you're familiar with Google Tag Manager, I'm using the so-called data layer there. I'm moving this up a bit. And I'm pushing all the information I get from that API into the data layer. And this allows me to grab that data with the Tag Manager and to send it to Google Analytics. So let's see what we have. Nice. Gotcha. So this is the info we got from Varun. Yeah, we can see demographics here. New Delhi, interesting. Organizations, wow, we have 3 saved there. So we have Rocket Internet here, we have Circumference Ventures, we have some bank. Yeah, and we do get even 5 photos, which is really nice. We have 1 from Facebook. It will take the first photo, so I hope your Facebook photo is okay to show. What I'm doing, you see that link here is really long, and it is actually too long for Google for the custom dimensions in Google Analytics. So after that lookup is done, I'm shooting it through the bit.ly API, and this is what returns that shortened link for me, which I'm pushing to Google Analytics. So let's check if there's a photo of Varun here. Nice, that's him. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I'm looking up for the email address on that full contact API, and I'm pushing the data in the data layer. One last thing to show you what you can do with that, which I find pretty cool and adds another layer of creepiness, is you can do something like that. Varun won't be in there because I fixed the time to the few days ago when I prepared and put in all the demo data. So Sorry? Yeah, I know, it wasn't updated yet. It's already a while ago. I don't know what's the update cycles of that API. So we get the photo, we get the social media profile, we get the company, of many of them at least, we get the job, we get obviously the client ID that we get from analytics. We know when the session started, at what date and what time. We know what channels the users clicked, in which sequence. We know the campaigns that were clicked during that session, or that initiated that sessions. We know the first channel. We know when we saw that user the last time. And we know what the last relevant action was that user did. Thank you very much. That was it. Any questions? Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you could do it, would be great.
There you go. Who was it?
I think it was, yeah.
Yes, so I really have a simple question. What do you do then with the analytics? Because they do not allow, I believe, they do not allow personal identifiable information. So what do you do with this table, basically?
I agree. I mean, I don't do a lot of it. It was more to prove that it's possible. But I mean, the photo is no use for in the end. I mean, at least if you want to be on the safe side with Google Analytics, I wouldn't do it because you cannot allow personally identifying information. But what you can do is use that job description, for example, or other info you get from the email address. And that full contact API is really cool. I mean, you saw just a part of the stuff you get. I think that could be really, really relevant information. And I would like to check that against the information Google is providing you, just to compare a bit and see which one is more accurate.
Okay, thanks.
What is that full contact API? Who provides it?
A company called Full Contact.
And that's just and that's just free. You just
yeah, no, it's not all for free. The first 500 queries are for free. Then you have to pay.
And how much?
I don't know, but just Google Full Contact and you will find it. Or Full Contact API. Anyone else? Well, cool. Then thank you very much for listening. So without further ado, Varun, Patil with Data Boost Your Social Media.
All right. So, well, thank you guys for coming. Wow, that's bright. Shit. Thank you guys for coming, and I'm shivering because of what I saw in the last presentation. Like, I was like, oh, not the wrong link. Thank God, it was a decent picture. Great. So, short introduction about me. My name is Varun. I've been an analyst in the more than 5 years category. And I started as a business analyst, did some data analysis. And then in 2009, I sort of went on to do my own gig. And when you're running your own business, you want to save as much as you can. So that's when I did Google Analytics. That's when I did social media analytics. This was also the time when Facebook first launched Pages and YouTube sort of started giving out some numbers so that you could know, okay, what's going on. So I've been doing this for some time, and right now I am working as a conversion optimization analyst at Rocket Internet. And then this guy again, Jorge, he put me back in the game for web analytics, and here I am. For me, web analytics, I love web analytics because it gives me the user journey, the user behavior, but I love social media. Yay. Okay, but I love social media because of the conversations. So today, we'll take a look at how we can use data to boost your social media. So first, we'll look at what is social media, definitions, then move on to what is social media, what is social media analytics, then also give you sort of like some possible setups of how you can carry out social media analytics. First, what is social media? In short, it's basically all conversations you are having on the social web. I mean, we don't need to get into the details. I guess everyone has a social account here. I guess, I hope. Yes, everyone? Everyone? Yeah, okay. Nobody saying anything. Okay, no worries. So yeah. Now, why is it so important? Okay. Now, sorry. Yeah. So we have like more than 7 billion people on the planet, out of which around 50% are already internet users. And we also have like 31% penetration when it comes to social users. And now it's like 27% which are on like mobile socials. And 92% of online adults have an account on at least one social media site, with 78% actively using one. Most of you work for businesses which will have some sort of social presence. Now, imagine that. Imagine the amount of data that you can harness from social media. And that's like a huge number. There are like so many things you can do with it. We'll take a look at some of them going forward. Now, just some more numbers before we get there. Okay, quick game. Take a guess. Number of Tumblr posts in 1 second. 500. More? 1,000? More? Actually, it's like in 1 second, 1,000 posts. Instagram photos in 1 minute. All right, 58,000. 20 million, who was that? In 1 hour, 25 million tweets. And by the time you reach home today, I don't know how to say that number. So those many YouTube videos would have been watched. Okay. So these are numbers. I'm sure you've seen presentations on SlideShare, LinkedIn, giving you numbers. So let's take a look at a case study. Like way back in 2009, I don't know who remembers this. There was this video where there were 2 or 3 Domino's employees who were mishandling the food. There was like someone taking an onion, putting it in the nose, and there was someone sticking their finger in the cheese. And they recorded that and they put it on YouTube, and that was like a huge disaster for Domino's. So what did Domino's do? So first, they use something called social listening to analyze what is going on, analyze what people are thinking, people are saying. Then they use social media analytics to change their customer interaction strategy. Then they launched new products and marketing campaigns where they said, okay, some mistakes were made, we are sorry, and this is what we are going to do, and so on. And what happened? They make pizzas, but no. There was like a 14% increase in sale in the following quarter. Imagine that, a video which is showing your food being mishandled, a campaign which is designed after using social media analytics, and you actually get an increase in sales and increase in stock price. Like, that's amazing. Like, how did they do that? I don't know. I mean, there were great analysts, there were great like people behind it, but how did they do it? It was all social media analytics. What else can you do with social media analytics? You can go for public relations. You can do customer service. Great for startups, by the way. Customer service, free customer service on Twitter. Amazing. No need to maintain chat programs. No need to do like built-in features in your website. Just communicate on Twitter. It's free. Okay. So what do we take away from that? It was social media analytics that boosted Domino's social media. So you will say, what does that mean? You know, how is that relevant? There's a very simple code in analytics. I'm sorry, it's like a little at the bottom, so I hope you can see it. The goal is to turn data into information and information into insight. And that is where social media analytics comes in. Now, again, let's go back to a definition. It's nothing but what all of us do. Maybe you do it for web, maybe you do it for normal data, financial data, I don't know. But it's the same thing which you do on social media data. Before we dive into what is social media analytics exactly, first figure out, do you actually need it? In most of the cases, you will. Because if you have global social media operations and you have multiple brands, you have assets like celebrities, I don't know, sportsperson, singers, movie actors who are generating content for your brand, and you have competitors who are also very active on social media, then you get like a massive volume of data. So in these cases, you definitely need it. If not, somewhere down the line, you will realize that, yes, I need social media analytics. And if you don't have these, then I would say, I'm not the person who's advocating use of social media analytics like, yo, you have to do it. So if you don't have all of these, think about it. You want to spend your time and money there? That's something only you can answer. Now, this is like sort of a boring slide. It's like a lecture slide. So this is how social media analytics in one view looks like. So there are two aspects to this. One is the monitoring side on the left side, and then the measurement side. So monitoring is web analysts in the house. You can imagine it like Google crawling all websites. So this is something like, imagine there's a tool which is crawling the social web sphere. They're like going through blogs, they're going through news channels, forums, etc. And they're like crawling all this information, these conversations that are happening, people writing about your product, your brand, about the color of the shoes they bought yesterday. And monitoring tools do exactly that. They crawl the social web. Then measurement tools have a different approach. They connect to the social networks. They grab the data. They tell you, OK, you have 130 likes on this piece of content in the last week, or you have 10 people replying to comments or replying to the content and conversing on this piece of comment, and so on. Both of these will have some sort of web interface, what you saw, something similar to Google Analytics with their own set of features, which you can use to sort of extract your report. And there are also tools on the market which sort of do monitoring and measurement both. But again, I've mentioned some tools like Radian 6, Crimson Hexagon, Bottlenose. I've worked with some of them in some way or the other. I'm not here to tell you which one is good or bad. I'm just saying that these are tools which, like, there are some monitoring tools. For example, Sysomos is something we'll look at shortly in the coming slides. So there are like multiple tools which you can like find. There are like many tools out there in the market. Moving on to monitoring. So what does monitoring tell you? It tells you like what are the key conversations around your, it could be a brand, it could be a product. Then when are these conversations happening? Then also where are these conversations happening? In which geography? Like you could have like a product which, let's say, you could have a brand which is based in Germany, but you sponsor a player in Arsenal who's like has a huge fan following in Turkey. So that's information you can use. I don't know if you want to expand your operations to Turkey. That's amazing information. You can know how many people are talking about your brand because they are following this particular sports person. Then similarly, there is who are your key influencers and why is the conversation happening and so on. Now, a monitoring tool will look something like this. So you can input a query, which could be your brand, could be a product, or a combination of both. And it will sort of give you the links between the conversations that are happening. It could give you where these conversations are happening, basically all the 5 points we saw up there. And This is the tool I'm talking about. It's Sysomos. That's how it looks, and most monitoring tools will also look like that. Now, what is the social media measurement process? It's very similar, very standard, nothing new here. I guess as analysts, we all are aware of this cycle that you set objectives, then you define your KPIs, define your targets, set up tracking, track performance, and then go back in a feedback loop, do it again, and so on. What is different here is in social media, you measure quantitative data, which is number of likes, number of comments, number of shares, but there is a lot of qualitative data. For example, I got these Stan Smiths, and when they were launched, there was a huge conversation around them. So how do you know that people are liking it? You know, the normal way is you go out, make people fill forms, send them forms, but that's making them do something. How do you measure what people are talking about these shoes? The color, the design, the material. How do you do that? That is all qualitative data. For that, there is something called natural language processing. Now, this is basically a computer trying to understand human speech. And we have something called natural language processing engines. What they do is they take these conversations, they take them apart, they look for, based on the logic that we define, they look for the brand, they look for the content, the emotions, the sentiment, and also the purchase intent. So let's take an example. Let's say this is a tweet, all right? Adidas released sick, white, and green Stan Smith, wish I could afford them. So how will a NLP engine read this? First, it will recognize your brand. Then, okay. So not first, but yes, it will recognize your brand. Then sick, extremely positive in, I would say, some languages, some way of talking. Then white and green, Stan Smith, so positive feedback on color because it's sick, white and green. It recognizes your product, recognizes the emotion, likelihood to buy, and the overall product feedback that it was expensive. Now, the number of tweets, imagine the number of tweets which are talking about the same product when it is launched after every marketing campaign. After every time Justin Bieber will tweet about something, the resulting number of conversations. So much feedback is just out there, public data on Twitter, which you can use. Next.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
How does that engine manage? Hey? Yeah. How does the engine manage irony or sarcasm? I can say, oh, awesome, I love this, but actually you're saying you hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it could feel that you are.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So the engine is as good as we make it. So we have to train it. For example, sick. If you take the engine, the default is sick is like it's either a negative or a neutral word. So you have to train it. And one way is let machine learning take its course, feed it data, it will automatically figure out. Or the other way is you take this word and you give it a score, you make it a positive word, and then again the machine will start learning that, yeah, this is how your audience are conversing.
So now, but what I mean with this is like the word laugh. I mean, how can you score that? I mean, can you say it's always positive? It's always negative? You never know. I mean, it can be used like in sarcasm. So what I mean with this is, how can this work without any human monitoring? I mean, don't you need a person actually looking at what the engine is doing?
So the engine makes your job easier. Like you don't have to look every time, but yeah, you have to take care that okay, conversations change over time. What is cool right now? Like I don't know, squad goals. So. Squad goals is in right now, so you have to, like tell the engine that yeah, squad goals is cool. It's no longer, it's no longer cool to be part of a gang. but it's cool to be a part of a squad. So that's what you have to teach the engine.
Okay.
Right.
But still, I think that you need that person looking at it.
Yeah, so the person teaches the engine. All right, we take this up later. All right. So once you have measured the data, now comes the reporting part, which is, again, as analyst, I guess, you have your metrics, which translate into your KPIs, and then you do your analysis. For example, you have Özil, he's popular in XYZ geography, and then you release your insights, which is, okay, because Özil is popular here, based on the social media analytics, we can maybe, I don't know, sell XYZ product in this geography. Then there are multiple types of reporting which you can do, which again depend on your requirements. You could be a company which is like running campaigns after campaigns, so you could take all that data and create campaign reports, report weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, and so on. Now, you have your measurement done, you have your social media analytics plan ready. Now, what are the kind of setups that you could look at? How would you use it in your organization? So as a very basic setup, you will have your social networks from which monitoring tools and measurement tools will extract data. You will analyze using the standard tools you have, like Excel or, I don't know, Tableau, use PowerPoint or whatever tools you have to present, create reports, and share with your stakeholders. What's the next step? So when you want to go a little bit advanced, when you really want to tap into the power of the natural language processing engine and the monitoring and measurement tools, what you can do is you can have a setup like this. So you can have the monitoring tool and the measuring tool feed data into a data warehouse where the natural language processing engine is also pushing its scores. And you can use SAP, so thank you, SAP. They're not sponsoring this, but I just feel that many companies, especially in Germany, use SAP a lot, so yeah, so you can use the SAP Business Warehouse Server, or you can go to the next level, use a graph engine to plot the conversation around a product or a specific brand to your sales database, to your pricing database, so that you have the end-to-end picture from sales to marketing to conversations to your user segments within the social sphere. Now, once you're done with the setup, how do you visualize? What kind of setups can you use to visualize this data? So again, there's something with SAP. You can use the business warehouse, and now they have a very cool design studio, which you can use on mobile and web. So you extract your data, and you can present it on various dashboards. Or you can use something like Tableau Server, which is getting data from, again, all these tools and then visualize it. And once you have visualized your data, you have your setups ready, you have your social media plans, that is the moment when you will start boosting your social media. And that brings us to the end. Thank you. So, any questions? Yes, please.
It seems to be very nice, but it seems to be variable for big companies.
Yes.
So I'm asking myself, how much money do I have to invest to realize that? And is it applicable for small and medium-sized companies?
Okay. Sometime back, I did have a small company, so yeah, it's okay. So yeah, so sometime back, I did have a small company, and how I managed there was you just use the free tools. There is always like availability. I mean, I imagine you don't want to spend too much money, so just go for tools which are easily, like you don't have to pay much, or you use native analytics from Facebook or social media channels. And when you're a big company, that really depends how data-driven you want to be. So there is no limit. You can have something for like very low. I don't want to quote a number. It again depends on the size of the organization. And you can also go like full with BI infrastructure, linking everything, and so on. So the cost really depends on how sophisticated you want to be. All right. So anyone else? Yeah.
You talked about giving values to words if they are positive or negative. Did you already consider also giving values to word combinations?
Yeah, yeah. So again, that's something depending on what kind of tool you're using. Like, I guess I used something called Clara Bridges. So when we tested them out, it was they were able to take word combinations and get meaningful like results out of it. So that really depends. Or if you're a data scientist, then you could probably define your own logics and see what makes sense for you. So that's already happening. People are already doing it. Right. Anyone else? Marco, there.
Hi.
Hi.
Maybe? Hi, I was wondering if you or just anyone here, had any good recommendations for like open source sentiment analysis or that kind of thing?
Oh.
What you use for
Well,
implementing this?
I do remember checking out a couple of them, but I will have to look them up. I cannot remember the names. Yeah? Okay.
It was a great presentation, and I really appreciate your input into this as well. How would you negotiate measuring KPIs and measuring these sentiment analysis in different languages? For example, if you're trying to do like a broad spectrum, you know, not just only in English, but also in German and French, like how would that be negotiated with?
Well, that's one challenge this area is facing. So I would say that Latin character languages are pretty much like sorted out, I would say. But yes, languages with different scripts, they're still trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. So I would just say that if you want to go for some solution, test them out based on your market. Right. Marco, there. In the back.
Coming.
Regarding the question, which is just asked, you know, about like open source and recommendation. For example, I'm using Python NLTK,
okay.
and which is open source and for free, and it's possible to analyze words, word patterns. It's using with multiple languages, and as you said, it's also possible to, you know, like train the system a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, great, coding. Great. That's your answer. Well, yeah, I was talking about some, not just the programming part, but there are a couple of packages which have been developed as well. So yeah, great. But thank you for that. More questions?
Maybe a last one. Yes, no?
So before we close, I would like to show you a video. Yep. Now, when you look at this video, how many like the Adidas brand, and how many have been following the Adidas brand? Wow, are we in Germany? Okay, so now what I want to do is like take a look at the video, and if you have time, go back home and look at other videos from Adidas, and you'll see that the videos are very technical. They try to show the features of their product. They are very very nice videos with details of the product. But this video was released sometime last year, and it is the most viewed video in the Adidas YouTube universe. And think about why it is so. Look at the hashtags. Look at the assets or the players, the football players were used, and just think about like why was this video more watched, and why did they decide? How did they decide to make this video this way?
They hate the way you walk. They hate the way you talk. They hate the way you stand up and the way you stand out.
Hashtags.
They just want to take you out. And they hate that they couldn't if they tried. They hate that you score all the goals and all the girls. They hate it when you win. The way you celebrate.
Listen to the number of times the word hate is used.
Kiss your finger. They hate the way everyone's talking about you. That you've got the magic touch. That you're the best player on the street. The team, the pitch, the league, the country, the world. And they hate your shiny new boots. They hate your boots because they wish they were in them.
Sorry for the sound. Again, the use of the word haters. Cool. So think about it, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Varun. That was really interesting. And actually, NLP is a subject that we haven't had yet, so I think it's really cool that you covered that. And yeah, before I let you all head over to the beer, Julien will just say a very few sentences, I promise, about the space and the initiative of SAP.
Yeah, thank you, Marco. Yeah, I'll be quick about it. I'm Julien. I'm working in the SAP Startup Engagement team here in Berlin, and I'm very glad you guys are here. And I just wanted to point out your attention to these little flyers we have here. It's about the SAP HANA Cloud Platform Startup Challenge. It's basically for startups who want to do some predictive real-time analytics or big data analytics. And SAP basically partnered with Capgemini for mentoring and technology and everything. And if you guys have any idea or someone who basically wants to do something, or you know someone or heard of someone, just pass it on to them. That we have this challenge. The challenge is, I think it's due to end of May, and it's about 4 or 5 months of hardcore mentoring by SAP and Capgemini to build and establish a first application and bring it to the market and sell it to SAP partners. So, thanks. And if anyone has questions.
Thank you very much, Julien, and thanks again for hosting us tonight. Thanks to the speakers, and obviously thanks to all of you for staying with us here until the end and making this the biggest meetup ever since. Bigger ones to come. We will be very happy to have a beer with you now, and yeah, we'll be around. Thank you very much.